Hey, how's it going, guys? Hope you guys are staying safe and healthy amongst the COVID-19 pandemic. So today I'm going to be reviewing the Kingdom Come, I think it's a 12-issue miniseries. I picked up this comic for pretty cheap at my local comic book store. It's actually originally the owner's comic book, and he just resold it for cheap because, he got what he wanted out of it. And I'd been wanting to read this story for a while, but I didn't necessarily like. I've been putting my money towards other books, so spending full price on the book wasn't my first priority. But when I saw this thing here for $10 below what they even charge for regularly, I was like, yeah, I don't care that it's old and worn. I'm going to get this. So, keeping in mind that this is the older print of Kingdom Come, it's not the current one. The current one will be linked in the bio below if you guys are interested in this story. Essentially, Kingdom Come is a story where heroes have retired and new ones have kind of come to take over. Like the original superheroes, children, grandchildren, their ancestors, new people all together. Um, and so the story kind of picks up being like, okay, these new superheroes have lost this code of ethics that the original superheroes kept. They don't have the morals that a superhero is meant to uphold. So then Superman comes out of retirement and, well, tries to correct this. But on the other side, there is a whole other team of people who completely disagree with what Superman's doing, trying to kind of correct superheroes are doing. That includes some of the new superheroes, some other familiar characters who you might not assume would be doing it, but it makes sense that they'd rebel against Superman in this current situation. This book is written by Mark Waid. Art is by Alex Ross, a pretty familiar artist. There are some pretty big books that Alex Ross has his name on, so if you recognized it right off the bat, that wouldn't surprise me. Let me just see if I can find a nice little piece of art for you to see. Here's one of the wraparound covers. Alex Ross's art, honestly, it's unique, but it stands out really well. Look at this. Just the lighting, the contrast going down, the light shining down on him. This is I think right when Superman's coming out of his retirement. But essentially there's this whole thing going on where the Spectre has kind of he's communicating with this old guy who is seeing visions. I won't say exactly how he's seeing them because that might spoil some stuff, but he's seeing visions or hearing prophecies really about the future, and these prophecies entail the end of the world. So that's his interpretation of it. So he has a very bleak outlook on life right now. At the beginning of the story, after he begins to see all these things. Meanwhile, the Spectre picks up this guy and says, "Hey man, I need you to make a judgment. When the time comes, you will have to decide who lives and who dies, who gets punished." And you're kind of okay, kind of random. We don't know who this guy is, but he becomes more and more relevant as the story goes on, and you start to see some of the prophecies actually unfold right in front of you. It's interesting to see these superheroes in their aged demeanor. Batman looking old, Superman even with the gray hair, and this world's kind of just on the brink of war. There's so much going on. Superheroes are basically just fighting for sport and not really caring about the impact it has on the people around them. So Wonder Woman goes and says, "Superman, dude, you gotta get your shit together. These guys are going crazy. This stuff needs to be corrected." So she inspires Superman to kind of come out of retirement. Superman then starts collecting, members of a league, and he starts enforcing that superheroes do no harm to bad people or to good people. Starts going around finding superheroes and not necessarily super villains, but people who aren't doing the good work, and he starts recruiting them or else. So this movie has a bit of this book has a bit of an ethical dilemma in it, in the fact that these heroes are doing so much damage to humanity right now. that they're doing more bad than good. There's no more villains, but at the same time, these heroes have kind of taken those villains' places. They're doing the same amount of damage that a villain would normally do. In fact, in some cases, they're doing more. There were cases of superheroes like not accepting surrender and still attacking people, which results in like really catastrophic events, like really bad stuff. So basically, Superman goes around, he starts collecting these people, but then this ethical thing comes around. It's like, okay, but what's the or else? To what level do we punish the people who deny Superman's code of ethics? The ones who don't think that this should be kind of held down by another person, the ones who don't believe in this code of ethics. And that's where other heroes and even villains come into play. Altogether, it makes for a really gravitating story. Really, like when I was reading this story, it was hard to stop reading. I kind of just got through this book in like 2 days flat. You get to see a lot of your typical like classic characters in action, aged up, and you get to see kind of this ethical dilemma between sides of superheroes, supervillains, and you kind of get to pick sides in your own head. Like throughout the book, like I don't know about anyone else who's read this book, but I found myself flip flopping from side to side about who I believed was right. Because on one side, yeah, the heroes are basically villains. They're doing terribly, but to what extent do we punish them, and is it too extreme the way that they're currently being punished? You know, like there has to be some kind of line, and you can't cross it. That's the whole point in this code of ethics. And at the same time, are we contradicting this by enforcing the code of ethics? So a lot of that fun stuff, and honestly, stellar art. Like the stuff you find in here, it's really beautiful. It's really hard to not find a book that holds up to this quality. And the way that the story ends too, it's kind of heartfelt, you know, it's a little saddening, but it's renewing. You know, it's like a fresh start, and it's like, okay, you know, like we have a place to move forward. Honestly, there is room in here for possibly a sequel. I don't know if there is one. I don't think there is, but I think it's better without one. I think it leaves off perfectly and kind of just leaves it up to the reader as to what happens next. This book regularly retails for $25 on Amazon. That's brand new. And this book originally retailed for $21, but this one isn't even printed anymore. So, little bit of an out of date. You can see this cover art here. We got Batman up there, Shazam down here. I don't know if Shazam was called Shazam in this book or if he was called Captain Marvel. I don't remember when the licensing switched over. And then we've also got what looks like almost like a Red Robin. I'm not gonna say which Robin that is. You don't really know until they say the name because the art's so unique. And a couple other heroes in there as well. For a brief description of this story, basically, according to Amazon and other publishers, in a near future world of Kingdom Come, superheroes are bad. I'm not going to say that word, but heroism is rare. After decades of Earth's champions, the members of the Justice League have all retreated out of the public eye, replaced with a new generation of crime fighters whose brand of justice leaves humanity terrified rather than inspired. But with the planet's future in jeopardy, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman must come out of retirement to one last stand, truth and justice. So, this book, honestly, if you want to just pick it up and read it, go ahead. You don't really need any background story. Like, as long as you understand who these characters are and, like, what drives them, this story will make sense. Even if you don't know who they are, you pick up on these aspects of them as you read the story. Like, you figure out how each person has their own code of ethics and, like, basically what they do to stick by it. So this book is a solid read, pretty affordable too, comes in trade paperback format. I believe there's also an Absolute Kingdom Come. I wanted it in oversized format, but I believe those are the only popular formats for this book. Overall, I would highly recommend reading this book. It is a solid read. Just a little heads up, I want to apologize for the fact that I have not reviewed the Green Lantern Omnibus yet. I've been trying to keep up with weekly uploads, and I found that with working lately, I've had less and less time to read, um, which means that I found that trade paperbacks are just easier to kind of read through and then be able to consume and understand and then process and then give you guys a video about. Omnis take a long time to read, and I want to make sure I'm still bringing out guys out the weekly stuff that you deserve. So once my reviews for these trade paperbacks are done, the Green Lantern Omnibus number 3 will be coming out, followed by the Blackest Night Omnibus, because I also want to review that and see if I think the Omnibus was worth it, and if it was a big upgrade from just reading it out of the Green Lantern Omni. Um, Hopefully, in the next few months, I'll be reading some more Omni. Some books that I want to read are like Aquaman by Jeff Johns. What else? The Nightwing New 52 Omni. I wanted to read that for a bit. Um, what else? I want to read the new Teen Titans Omnis, but the first one's out of print, I think, so it's like upselled for like $300 on Amazon or something. So I'm probably gonna have to go scavenging for that. So that's something else I want to read. Uh, I want to start reading the Mark Waid Flash, but my brain's like, don't do that yet because the 8th trade paperback isn't even out yet. Because it comes out in, I want to say June, but I'm honestly not sure. So yeah, that's just kind of a brief update on the videos that have been releasing, why I haven't been doing Omnis yet, what stuff I want to do in the future. The Green Lantern Omni number 3 is coming, I promise. Thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys well. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment, tell me what you guys want me to review in the future. Obviously, I've seen the Green Lantern Omnibus number 3 is in demand, so good communication. It's a good way for me to know what you guys want. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the videos. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you in the next one.